from the castle gates to bedtime tales, laughs on the road and the monorail meet up on Main Street. Oh, Epcot to raise a glass and clink, telling old trip stories over one more drink. DisDad intro, here we go, talking parks, kids, all the magic we know. DisDad intro, hit play, let's start the show. Hey, DisDad intro.
Welcome to DisDad Intros, the show where we get to know the voices, stories, and Disney passions behind the DisDad Club. I'm your host, Justin West, fellow dad, Disney fan, and proud member of this incredible community of fathers who love their families and maybe just happen to love a good Dole Whip too. This is DisDad Intros. Let's meet today's guest, Michael Tighe.
Hey,
How you
Justin.
doing, Michael?
I'm doing good, Justin. How you doing?
I'm having a good evening here. So glad you could join me. Appreciate you taking time out of your day. Why don't we get started and have everybody know a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, a little bit about your family.
Yep. Michael Tighe. I've been a DisDad, I think, since DDCC5. So I think we're going on 10, 11 years. From Marion, Ohio. Been married for 26 years now. I have 3 children. They're all adults now. My oldest is 23, about to go to the University of New Mexico to pursue his PhD. And then I have twin daughters who are now 21. They are both at Youngstown State. One is in her senior year pursuing exercise science, maybe becoming an athletic trainer or going to medical school. And the other is in her final year of nursing school at Youngstown State. And she doesn't know if she's going to go on for her graduate school or either. So yeah, I have adult children, so I guess we are empty nesting from time to time.
Nice. So Michael, then what do you do for a living?
I
there
am
in
an
Ohio?
pediatric occupational therapist. I work in schools and also have worked in outpatient setting with children that may have physical disabilities or some form of disability, either in school or out in the community or at their home. So anywhere from the age of about 2 all the way up to actually when they're no longer children, up to 23. I have worked with children and have done that for the last 13, 14 years. Yes, I'm lucky. I get to play every day, and that's what I tell everybody to do. I get paid to play, so I'm very lucky
Nice.
in that I absolutely love what I do for a living.
That's awesome. It's always I'm always excited for people who enjoy their work. Not all of us get that opportunity. So you mentioned that you've been part of DisDads for about 10, 11 years. So where
My
and
journey
how
to
did
the
you
DisDads
discover
is
the DisDads?
a lot different than some of the other guys. You know, some of the other guys, it's, I met somebody at the park, or I worked with somebody, or I was part of the Dis boards. I was none of that. Here in Marion, I had some friends. My wife and I had some friends here. They were a teacher as well, and they were involved in an online community for TiVo, of all things, a TiVo community forum. And they would host an annual party over at their house. And we had known these people and their children for years, just from mutual acquaintances. And they were hosting a party and went over there and met a guy by the name of Aaron Rittmaster, and had just talked to Aaron from time to time. You know, we didn't spend a lot of time together. We didn't talk Disney, a little bit of Disney, but connected on Facebook. Just he and I connected on Facebook just as friends. You know, you meet somebody, hey, okay, become friends. And then the following year, my wife and I were going to Disney to run the half marathon during marathon weekend. and I want to say it was 2015, maybe 2016. I think it was DDCC 5. And he had seen that we were going down there, and he had just either sent me a message or an email or something like that saying, hey, if you got time, there's a bunch of us down here, a bunch of people down here. If you want to just kind of hang out, and where they were doing a Crescent Lake bar crawl, and only had a couple of hours because, you have to get up at, very, very early for a Rut Disney race. So not that we could do drinking or anything with him, but
Yeah.
got to hang out with him and a whole bunch of other guys for about 2 hours. And I guess that's how I kind of got introduced to it. They talked about having a Facebook page, join the Facebook page, and the rest is history. I haven't missed a DDCC since. So this will be 10 years in a row, I want to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So you found some mutual Disney lovers as yourself.
First time I
So,
went to Disney
when did
was,
you
I want to
first go to
say,
Disney?
in the early 80s, as far as I can remember. I was lucky. My dad worked for a small insurance company called Progressive Insurance before they were the Progressive Insurance, when they were just a little small high risk insurer. So he got to travel all over the United States to do the IT infrastructure to build up some of their offices as they were growing, as they were hitting that exponential growth. So he had a lot of frequent flyer miles. So they had office in Tampa. So we went to Tampa quite a bit. And I remember going to River Country probably in the early 80s. Remember going to Epcot and the Magic Kingdoms in the early 80s. And then there was a pause. I think I was maybe 10 at the time. And then there was a pause until after I graduated college. And then the family started going together. My family before children, my brother, and he had just had a child, and my mom and dad went down. We started going down in 99 as a whole family, and we'd go once a year as a whole family from 99 to about 2001 before we ended up buying DVC. But I can remember, and I know I've seen pictures of myself at Epcot, and it's probably Epcot's second year when it was built. Very different pictures. River Country. I mean, one of the few to say I survived River Country, that I've swam in Crescent Lake. I've swam in Bay Lake. And I remember those things. Yes. Before all of those things, and, even would take the boat, and still would take the boat until they tore down River Country just to go by it, and just kind of like, I remember sliding off of that and falling into the water like by 7 feet down that concrete slide. And, it was a very different water park. But those are some of my earliest memories of Disney. We're back in the early 80s as a little kid.
Oh, okay. So then, is that then would you say sparked your love of Disney?
I mean, my
or
wife's
did-
always
did
kind of
you
been
have
like a
something
Winnie the
that
Pooh
maybe
fan.
caused you to
she was more
reconnect
into
with
Disney
it?
than I really was. I mean, and just got into it again when we started going as a family, just because it was such an immersive vacation. You go in there and you'd lose track of time. You'd lose track of just about everything. You'd make all of these really good memories, as a family, as a big family group with myself, my brother, my mom and dad, and just for a week, just kind of just enjoying yourself, and just kind of, and then becoming a part of DVC, means, you're there quite often. Then after that point, we'd make sure we go about once a year after about 2001. So.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite memories when my son was an
Cool.
infant, because
So you
we
mentioned
were lucky
memories.
that,
Do you have a
that we
favorite
were
memory or
DVC
two
owners
that
when my
stand out to
children were
you?
born. And so it gave us the opportunity to build a lot of those family memories. And right after, I want to say, I think it was finding, it wasn't, may have been The Little Mermaid or it may have been Finding Nemo. And my son was just born. And they would have at the transportation ticket center, they would have walking kelp or walking seaweed walking around. There's just, some cast members on stilts in like a seaweed costume, similar to, you know, the Green Goddess over at Animal Kingdom, where she would blend in the trees. And they stole my son's stroller. And for a solid 5 to 10 minutes, they just all pushed him all around the
Of course.
TTC and just a lot like that. That was one of my really cool memories. And because we got to go so often, there's so many others. One of which is the Crystal Palace that we just got to recreate. Because that is my wife's favorite place for breakfast, because we used to go there as a family quite often, just because it was a good character breakfast. The kids would like it in the Magic Kingdom, good location. And Piglet and my son probably was 5 at the time, I want to say. And there's a picture of him there with Piglet, and he is now 23. And we got to recreate that picture just for my wife's 50th birthday party, So those two are really good core memories. Having my kids on the carousel at the Magic Kingdom. Like I said, having my daughters there when they were just born. I think they were first down there when they were 4 months, and just going all around. I mean, there are some good memories, some very good family memories that, like I said, I've been lucky enough to, sit there and see Wishes with the whole family, and to see Tinkerbell. That's my wife's favorite thing. I think if she could, she would go see Tinkerbell fly every day during the fireworks.
Yeah.
No.
If you don't mind battling the crowds, there's nothing quite like it. I don't think you can experience anything like that anywhere else in the world. So, so
I
you've
actually don't,
had
because everyone
obviously
brings something
a lot
different.
of time down at Walt Disney
I
World.
enjoy the
Do you have
Magic
a
Kingdom
favorite
just
park?
because it's kind of the original, the traditional. There's still some very traditional rides there, even though, Disney's always constantly evolving and changing, but there's still you know, some original pieces, of that Disney magic. And then I like Epcot. Um, Epcot has a lot of good things, and it's really morphed and changed over the last, 35 years that it's been around. And, you know, you can't go to Epcot without going to an Epcot festival. I mean, that's kind of, you put an asterisk next to it now, because the festivals change Epcot so much. And, it just, the Festival of
Not
the Arts is
anymore.
our absolutely favorite festival. It is just unique. It's kind of interactive. You can talk to the different artists. You can see all these different, works of art. I mean, some of it, the chalk art that they do on a daily basis. It rains the next day and it's gone, and there's artists out the next day doing something different. And I do like Hollywood Studios. It is another one that's constantly changing and evolving. Um, I still call it the old MGM Studios at times. And I also enjoy Animal Kingdom, and it's going through a major change and revival too, where it's, changing, and everything kind of changes. But
Yeah.
I don't have a specific park necessarily. Yeah.
They're all unique in their own ways. So I could see that. I mean, I think I probably have an order for them, but I don't know that it's that wide,
Uh,
that I would say
no trip
um,
is
one way or
complete
another.
without a ride on
Uh,
Pirates. We always try to make sure
Maybe
that
a
we
top
ride
three
Pirates
rides.
every time we go.
What rides do you
That
enjoy?
is definitely one that we've enjoyed over the years and years and years and years and years. Um, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, is an absolutely phenomenal ride. Um, and, you know, may catch some flack, but Smuggler's Run with the new Mandalorian overlay is so improved, and actually really have enjoyed it. Maybe because it's still new. I mean, ask me maybe in a couple of years if I still feel that way, but every time we've ridden it in the last couple of months, you always kind of pick up on little, some different things and some different, oh, wow, that's there. And oh, that's there. And that's a little different. And, just some different things. So I'd say maybe that. I like Rock and Roller Coaster, especially what they've done with it with the Muppets. Tower of Terror is always a favorite of myself and my daughters. We'll try to ride Tower when we can as well. Yes.
Cool, cool. Yeah, there's something
Oh
for
yeah.
everybody. I know it's like almost like a favorite in each park, and they keep adding things too. So, um, I agree. Guardians is one of the best things they've added in the last like 15 years. Um, it's certainly fun and has a lot of new rideability.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so moving on, everybody's favorite topic, food. Um, uh, let, let's try not to name
Honestly, when it
50
comes
places, but
to park
there's there,
foods, when
there's
I'm talking
yeah.
about like a
How
sit
about
down meal, I actually
let's
leave the park
say
and I go to the resorts. I mean,
one
that
from each park,
to
or
me,
like either a food item, a restaurant,
that's
or a drink.
Disney's fifth park is the
Um,
resorts, and having access when staying on the resorts of going to dinner at all these different places. So I would say, obviously, Dole Whip, is probably one of the, you know, is a trip really complete without getting a Dole Whip? I mean, so I, I enjoy that. So that'd be kind of like a snack, definitely a Dole Whip. Um, Mickey's Premium on a hot day, just it hits differently. You know, it's just
yeah,
ice
kind
cream
of.
and chocolate. That's Mickey shaved, but there's something about it that just is good. Um, no, it is not. No, it is not. I would say sit down restaurants. Um,
I'll
it's
tell you,
hard
it's not the
because we
same
like
when
to
you get the one
travel
at
and
the
do
freezer
different
section
ones,
at
and
the store.
they're always evolving too. The California Grill is always a favorite of ours. Just because you can't beat the view up there on the top of the Contemporary. The food is really, really good. Um,
Mm.
and that's I think one of the only or one of the few restaurants that doesn't have to go through the Disney commissary to get their supplies, that their chefs are allowed to go outside of the Disney commissary routes. So you get a different quality of food up there, and really like that. As far as drinks, I don't drink a lot. My wife will have a drink here and there. La Cava is, you know, it's just the atmosphere in the Mexico Pavilion. La Cava, is definitely, I would say, is up there. But also, every resort has a really unique lounge, and that you can go and sit there and explore and do different things everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, when it comes to like a favorite drink, to
Yes.
me,
Oh,
drinks are
absolutely.
similar in many different places, so the atmosphere makes up a lot of what will add to that experience. That and the person who is serving
Um,
creating that
I would
that
say
beverage as well.
probably
So,
October.
um,
October is a
so you
really
mentioned that
favorite
you
time
like
because the
Festival of
heat
the Arts, maybe one
goes
of your
away.
favorite
Living in Ohio in
festivals.
October,
Do you
you're
have a
getting to fall,
favorite
which is
like
a really
time
good
of the
time. But
year to visit?
October in Florida, October, early November in Florida is, the heat goes away. And on the flip side, also like end of February, first couple weeks of March, where the heat's starting to come back, but it's not overly hot and there's not a lot of humidity. I would say those are probably um, our favorite times to visit just because the climate is like perfect. There's not a lot of rain at that time. Um, and you don't have to worry about, going out and being in 105 degrees or I'm sorry, I'm from Ohio. And even though it's cold, Florida cold just hits different when it's like in January. I don't know what it is. It's like, oh, it's 40 degrees. That'll be fine. 40 degrees in Ohio in January. No, no. And 40 degree. Yeah.
It, it's because it just doesn't feel right when you're looking at a palm
Yeah.
tree and you're getting
I mean, 40
goosebumps,
degrees in the Midwest in
from
January.
the
Heck,
cool
that's shorts
air
and
or
t-shirt
whatever.
weather
It's
almost,
just something
you
about
know?
that the brain
I
doesn't let
mean,
that click
so,
right.
but yeah.
Um, yeah, I like October, but October's good. But I've been in October when it's been pretty dang hot. So, but pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah, yeah. Yeah, those are the days you've mentioned Run Disney a little bit. Those are the days when you really enjoy the nice winter run up here. It's not too cold and you could still don't have to
Yep.
wear
I will be
uh
there. Yep.
4 layers to get out there. Um all right, so you
Um,
mentioned
I
DDCC
ran for two
about every
DDCCs. We
year
ran for the
now.
first one, that first one when I got
Recently,
introduced to the group.
uh,
And
you
then 2 years later
you're
in
planning then, I assume, to
2018,
go this next year
my wife,
as
my
well?
wife and I ran the Dopey Challenge.
Are
And
you
after we did
are you
that,
gonna be running
I
again?
said, you know what? I can pick a different race weekend and actually enjoy the DisDad's convention because you can do one or the other. It's hard to do both if you're going to do a lot of the different runs, just because you want to hang out with the guys, hang out with the families, do the different events they've got. But as we talked about earlier, you're getting up, you know, before the birds are out and before 4 hours before the sun even comes up, and it makes it really difficult when there's a group outing, say at Martha's Vineyard or over at Camino's or somewhere, and everybody's out till 11, 12 o'clock at night, and you need to be in bed 4 or 5 hours ago because you got to go run 13 miles the next morning.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Eh, It certainly makes you question the decisions that you've made. It's hard to shut off. Hard to shut off the
Absolutely.
fun, but then you
Absolutely.
know
Just
that if
enjoy
you've been doing all
times and
that
just
training
relax and
and everything, you don't
not
want
have
to
to worry
ruin
about
that
up.
either.
It's
So
9 o'clock at
I
night.
did
I
it
got
a
to go to
few
bed.
times also, and yeah, I don't. Maybe one day, but for DDCC, to me, that I think I'd just rather enjoy the company that weekend.
Um, August 9th. So about a month from now, gonna move my son
Yeah.
into
All right. Well,
Albuquerque on the
we
7th
were
of
chatting a little
August.
bit beforehand, and I know that you're
He's gonna
just
drive,
back.
and my wife's gonna drive with him. I'm gonna meet him in
Within
Albuquerque on the 7th.
not even
We're gonna
24
move him
hours.
in to his
So
apartment
when's
down
your
there
next
on the
trip?
8th, and then on the 9th, we're gonna fly from Albuquerque over to Orlando for a few days. Pick up Not So Scary on that Tuesday, and then come back and get ready to go back to work because our summer break will be coming to an end. Yeah, I truly am lucky. I get to go. I get to go almost on a monthly basis to Disney if I choose to. Yes.
Cool. Cool. That's yeah.
Oh boy, that's a
That's
that's a
awesome,
hard one
and
because
you certainly rack up the
so
flying
many things
miles
have
doing that too.
changed. If I could
um,
bring back one
okay,
thing,
if you could
I would
change or bring
say
back one thing at Disney
people look at
World,
me funny.
what would
Real
that
grass
be?
in the Magic Kingdom in the hub. There, and maybe it's because it's just like a memory of mine when there were more shrubs and there wasn't so much concrete there, and it was just the landscaping was different where everybody wasn't concentrated there, and you could go and you could relax a little bit more. It was a little bit
Okay,
more, just it felt a little bit homey, or a little bit Main Street felt a little bit more like Main Street when there was, real grass. And I understand why it's not there. Believe me, I understand why it's not there, and I understand why the changes have made. But just putting in a little bit more green spaces throughout the Magic Kingdom and even the rest of the parks. You know, all the parks seem to have a little bit more green spaces when they were first built, and over time, it's kind of been one of the things that's kind of been lost. I mean, some of it, like I said, I understand why, you know, like the Epcot change. I understand why the Epcot change happened because, I actually like how the new layout looks. I really do. I don't like the fact that in the summertime you can't sit there because there's no shade. And it's just too hot. You've got all these beautiful places to sit. The trees are still too new to give you any,
yeah, yeah,
useful shade during the day in the spring and the summer. So it makes this beautiful area that you can't use real well. So just bring back some of that, some of those green spaces, a little more open spaces.
yeah.
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 I mean, and some of the cold even that they experience has really I noticed the last time, especially like over in Germany and stuff, and down the Main, they took a lot of harsh damage to the trees and stuff, and I know that's going to take a
Yeah.
while to get back. But yeah, that I I can understand what you're saying. It kind of took away a
Yeah.
little bit of like just like the warmth, I want to
Hmm.
say, of those areas, and
Yeah.
uh more more theme
Yeah.
parky. You like,
And,
you,
and
you
the
know,
other
it
thing to bring
makes it
back,
feel
the
more that,
Osborne
like,
lights.
because
If you
I know
ever,
one of my favorite
if
ways
anybody ever had a
places to
chance to really
sneak
see
away is
those
that
at
back
MGM or
section
Hollywood
in
Studios,
United
that
Kingdom at
that
Epcot,
holiday
back
display
there.
was
And, you're in the
absolutely
gardens
impressive,
back
and
there,
it
and
can't come back
it's
just
kind of a nice
because
little
where
place
they
to
were is just it's gone
quiet
now,
place
you
for
know. But
to
just
sneak
the
away for
way
a
they
few
did
minutes.
that, and just that, I would love to see them try to bring something like that back. Right.
Yeah.
I just,
Someplace, like,
I
even
mean,
if they
being a
try to
parent,
do
you
that
know,
in
being
Disney
involved with my
Springs or
children for
something,
so many
there might
years.
be
I mean,
an
and even
opportunity
now,
there. But
even though
yeah,
they're in college now, you
that's
know,
definitely
still getting to
something
go
that
to college
was
football games because my
really
daughter's
neat
on the
to
marching
see
band.
when they had it.
And so I get to go to college
Um,
football games,
outside
and we
of
try to go to
Disney,
every game, and we try
do
to
you have
visit them
any hobbies
in
that you enjoy?
college. I would say, you know, I used to play video games, but didn't have time for it. Um, I bowled for many, 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 many years, and you know, could hold my own, could do well enough, but had to make decisions when my kids were younger. You know, bowling 4 or 5 nights a week. Um, you know, doesn't work well with, you know, raising a family and being, and especially when they have like scouts and swimming and all these different things that kids get involved with. Um, you just, you choose and you make sacrifices as a parent. And so, I mean, yeah. Exactly. I wouldn't trade it. I run. I like to run. I like to get up, you know, at dawn, and run. I think it's that, you know, half hour, 45 minutes, hour long piece as, you know, as the sun comes up. I really enjoy that.
Oh, for sure.
I get to do it
My
at
golf
Disney a lot
game,
too. In
my
fact, I
golf
did it a
game is
couple
the
days ago,
thing
you
that
know,
took the
running around the
biggest hit.
boardwalk,
So, but
you know, at 6:30 in
I
the
wouldn't
morning.
trade it.
So,
So,
I would say that,
yeah.
you know, running Disney races. I mean, I've been lucky enough. I've been able to run those now every year, some race every year since 2016. So I'm almost 10 years, over 10 years now. And you know, as long as my health continues to be good and I can keep doing it, then no, why not?
Sweet.
um, Interesting fact. I'll give you two. Um, the first is when I was bowling. Um, I carried a high enough average that I could have
Cool.
received a PBA
All
tour
right. Well,
card
before we
back in the early
wrap up,
2000s.
Michael, do you
And
have
like I said,
one
I could hold my
interesting
own.
fact about yourself that the
And
guys
actually
in the
got to
group
bowl with several
probably don't know?
really good professionals in different tournaments. So I enjoyed it. And like I said, I was bowling 4 or 5 nights a week, and had a good friend who was proprietor at the bowling alley, and 4 or 5 nights a week would turn into 4 to 5 hours at times in bowling, probably 10 to 20, 30 games. But
Wow.
um, choices. And the other interesting thing that most people don't know is occupational therapy is not my first career. I've actually had 3 different careers. My first degrees were in criminal justice. I spent almost 8 years working for the state of Ohio in the Department of Corrections. I have worked
Mm-hmm.
or been in every prison in the state of Ohio in an official capacity. I started. Well, I didn't tell you. Oh yeah, I served. I did 8.5 years in prison because that was the running joke. Oh yeah, I did 8 years in prison. So um, I have, you know, started off in classification, did classification work. I was a lieutenant, had a shift of officers. I was responsible for a shift of officers. I supervised death row when death row
I'm
was at
glad
my
you could
prison,
clarify that.
and I was a lieutenant at the time. Right after they reinstated the death penalty in Ohio. So that was just some different times. I worked at, I managed a correctional farm camp for the state at one point for about 9 months to 10 months. And, you know, and just some different things like that. So I think a lot of guys don't, don't know that, that, you know, I worked in a prison for 8 years before, I decided to leave for a business opportunity. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's certainly new. Well, that's certainly a new and interesting fact, and I think that the guys will be happy to or
Yeah.
interested to hear that. So awesome. Well, Michael, I want to thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining me here tonight. It's
All
a
right. Thank you,
pleasure for
Justin.
me to have these conversations with the guys, and I think that it does a great service to the group for people to be able to participate and also then to watch and get to know each other even better, and hopefully even strengthen the bonds and get more people involved. So thank you for doing it. All right, so for Michael, I'm Justin. This has been another episode of DisDad Intros.
From the castle gates to bedtime tales, laughs on the road and the monorail. Meet up on Main Street or Epcot to raise a glass and clink, telling old trip stories over one more drink. DisDad Intros, here we go. Talking parks, kids all